Hi math students, welcome to Project 5, Lesson 24. We're still talking about solving systems of equations because they're that important. But this time we've already addressed our three methods for solving systems of equations, and we are going to look at a problem that forces us to come up with our two equations, and then we get to decide which method we like the best to go ahead and solve. So here's our situation. In the Clinkstown courthouse, a hearing for minor crimes lasts 2 hours and a hearing for major crimes lasts 7 hours. The total number of hours that Judge Espinosa spent in hearings last year was 1,000 hours. There were a total of 250 hearings. Use your knowledge of systems of equations to write a system that represents the situation. So fortunately for us, they're going to just walk us through every step here, and it's not going to be that bad. But please do pay attention because this is a very, very typical scenario that you'll see in checkpoints and exams and on future math tests, maybe the SBAC, for solving systems of equations. This is a very normal scenario, okay? So the first question says, which statements correctly define the variables in this situation? So let's look. They only give us two choices for x, so let's look at that first. X could either be the number of total crimes or the number of minor crimes. And so the things that we know we've got an x variable and a y variable. And we know that one of them has to represent major crimes and one of them has to represent minor crimes, right? Because we're looking at the time each takes and adding that up to 1,000, and then the total of those two, minor and major crimes, are going to equal a total of 250. So if we go down here to x, we already know the number of total crimes. That's 250. So x is an unknown. It's a variable. So it can't be 250. So x has to be the number of minor crimes. And if x is the number of minor crimes, then y has to be the number of major crimes. Okay? Oh, I guess we also had a choice for x to be the length of hearings for minor crimes, but we already know that that's 2 hours. Same for y can't be the hearing for major crimes because we know that that's 7 hours. Y can't be the number of hours in court because we know that that's already 1,000. So these two items here are really the things that we do not know, and they're what makes sense for the variables for our problem. Okay, so if x is the number of minor crimes, let's go up here and note that minor crimes, remember x is the number of minor crimes last 2 hours, and major crimes are y, and they last 7 hours, okay? So if I need to go then down here, in order to answer the following question, use the variables that you defined in the previous question and the passage. A court hearing for a minor crime lasts 2 hours and a court hearing for a major crime lasts 7 hours. The number of total hours spent in hearings for Judge Espinosa this year was 1,000 hours. Okay, so look here, this one looks like it might work. 7x plus 2y equals 1,000. Okay, remember x is the number of minor crimes, and the number of minor crimes take 2 hours. This would indicate that minor crimes took 7 hours. So we need to find a situation where 2 is multiplied by x. And this is one of them, okay? So 2 hours times the number of minor crimes plus 7 hours times the number of major crimes equals 1,000 hours. That definitely makes sense. X plus y is 250. We'll probably say that later because that's the total number of crimes, but it doesn't deal with the hours that they're asking us to refer to here. 2x plus 7y equals 250. Nope, we know that it equals 1,000. And x plus y equals 1,000. No, that's not true because we have to take into account that each minor crime takes 2 hours and each major crime takes 7. So this is the one that makes sense here. 2x plus 7y equals 1,000. And then so we've built one equation. We need to build another. In order to answer the following question, use the variables that you defined. X equals minor, y equals major. And this passage. There were a total of 250 hearings. So doesn't that say to us that x plus y equals 250? It totally should. So that's the right answer there. And then remember 2x plus 7y equals 1,000. That's our other equation. It's not the right answer to this question, even though it's listed here. It's the right answer to the previous question. Okay, so we are moving right along here. That was question 3. And for question 4, they are asking us to solve this system of equations. Okay, so I am going to, let's see, we can use any method we want. We could graph this. I'm probably not going to graph because we're dealing with some kind of big numbers. We could substitute, and I'm thinking that that's probably my preferred method, or we could also use elimination. And if we were to use elimination, we would probably multiply the top equation by a -2. Actually, I really like that. Why don't we do that? That'll probably be pretty darn easy. So let's multiply the top equation by -2 to solve this. And when I do that, I get -2x minus 2y, because remember I have to multiply every single term by that -2, equals a -500. Okay, and then I'm still adding the original second equation here, which was 2x plus 7y equals 1,000. Okay. When I add these together, my x terms go away, and I'm left with -2y plus 7y is a positive 5y equals 1,000 minus 500 is 500. So divide both sides by 5. That cancels out, and y equals 100. That was a pretty easy answer to get. Now I can go back. Remember, I can substitute y equal 100. I can substitute it into this equation, or this equation, and they should all give me the same answer. This one is really easy, so I'm going to substitute it there. I'm going to say x plus 100 equals 250. Subtract 100 from both sides, and I get that x equals 150. Okay, so basically that is saying 150 minor crimes and 100 major crimes. Cool. That was really easy. Remember the other thing that I could do here, and I'm just going to show you to prove that you could do it either way, is substitution. So I am going to rewrite this. I'm going to say that x equals 250 minus y, and then I'm going to substitute that in for x right here. So I'm going to say 2 times 250 minus y plus 7y equals 1,000. So this will be, I'm going to multiply the 2 through each term here. 500 minus 2y plus 7y equals 1,000. That's a 0. And I'm going to combine like terms. 500 plus 5y equals 1,000. Subtract 500 from both sides. And that goes away, and I get 5y equals 500. This is looking very familiar. Divide by 5, and we get that y equals 100. And once I have y, again, I can go back to any of the equations and solve for x. So we've just proven that it works either way. All right, so then when I enter this in, x is 150 and y is 100, so I will type it in like this, 150, comma, 100. Okay, it's important that it goes in that way because x is 150 and y is 100, and you have to have them in the right order when you're entering in a coordinate like that. And what that's saying here is that given these two graphs, let's see, they both have, they're going to cross out here. I don't know that those are right at all, but they're going to cross out here at the point 150 and 100. Okay. All right, so last but not least, let's answer the final question here. And that is, does the solution you found to the previous question seem to be a viable solution within the context of the problem? So x being 150 and y being 100, why or why not? So x equal 150, y equal 100. I think we could say this seems like a reasonable caseload. Reasonable caseload over the course of 1 year. And also, it's important to recognize, you can type this, but I'm not going to write it out. You can say that the number of major crimes was less than the number of minor crimes, and that seems to be the case. Like, we would always expect that a community would have less major crimes than minor crimes. So to me, that all makes sense. Write something of this nature and then come back for lesson 25 before you submit this project. I'll see you again soon.